Okay. So what we will do is, Balaji, what we will
Yeah.
do is we will wait till 2:05, and from 2:05 we will start today's session, because people take 2-3 minutes time for
Yeah,
joining.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
I think you know Saima. She works with Antwak only, and she is also a student of this cohort.
Oh, okay. I've seen some of Saima's post. I haven't spoken to her in person. I mean, over a call, but
Okay.
she's familiar to me. Hi, Saima. How are you?
Hi, sir. I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
I was in the demo class which we took,
Yes.
I had asked you a doubt, like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll cover in that session itself. Let's not start now.
Yeah, you can ask me, not a problem.
Yeah.
Is Sriram also joining today?
Yes, he will be joining. He asked me about the time, and he told me that he will be joining.
Okay.
So what's the time there? In
It's 3:20 a.m.
3:20. So Canada has one time zone or different time zones?
Different. They have three time zones:
Okay.
Eastern,
Hmm.
Central, and West,
Okay.
just like the US. So this is at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. After a good Sunday lunch, you expect everybody to be awake, and I have to make sure they stay awake. That's a big
Yes,
challenge.
that's the big challenge, and the biggest challenge is we have to make sure that they join today's session in the afternoon. That's on Sunday.
1 or 10, it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
So, Saima, just wanted to ask you, just in case if I have like a certain question or something, sorry, actually not a question. There are no right or wrong answers to whatever I am going to ask for. So, in case if nobody volunteers, it would be great if you could volunteer.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be like a
Okay.
student. I'm a student itself, so I'll be in touch.
Okay. Cool.
There is 3 a.m. This is,
Yeah. 3:22 a.m. Correct.
oh my God. And you look so fresh.
Good that I'm fresh. I tried my best to be fresh.
Yes.
So, did you sleep last night, or you were you just
Yeah, I didn't sleep very well actually.
okay?
Actually, you know what happened? Actually, the time difference is actually 9.5 hours
Hmm.
until November 7th. So when they asked me, actually I was thinking it's going to be 4:30 and I said okay. And then the time changed. Now it's only 10.5 hours. That's why it is 3:30 for me now. It was supposed to be at 4:30 a.m. I forgot. So then, Sama, anything in specific that you want me to touch upon?
No, sir, not specifically.
Okay, cool.
The Canva is itself a big topic.
Yeah, I have to do my best to keep it simple. That's the most important thing. If not, people sometimes get overwhelmed by it. So I try to keep it as simple as possible.
Balaji, I just wanted to
Yeah.
inform you that at the last means, during the end of the session, we generally
Hmm.
post feedback links, and through which we take feedback from students so that we can improve in next session. And
Yeah.
okay, and I will
Yeah. 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 Please.
I'll, I will share the
Absolutely.
details of the feedback with you after the class.
Okay. Okay. So also what I'm going to do to you is, sorry, do now is I'm going to share on LinkedIn. I'm going to share you my Canva affiliate link.
Okay,
So when people use that, they can get 30 days free of
great try.
Canva Pro. Okay, free
Yes.
trial of Canva Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll only so what I'm going to say at some point is for people who stay until the last, I have something for you so that we make sure people stay back. And then and the last one I'll tell you, you can copy paste it. Okay, I'll just
Okay, LinkedIn.
put it in the LinkedIn
Okay.
chat. That's the one. So
Yeah, I got it.
awesome. Uh, would you mind? Can I just share my screen? I just want to check that everything
Yes,
is
yes,
okay.
yes. Let
Okay,
me
cool.
just stop sharing.
Sure,
Uh,
sure. No. I just changed my computer recently, so certain settings sometimes surprise me because the old one. Oh, you know what? I'll have to rejoin in a quick second, okay?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Just in case, Subadev, if people do not come, no,
Mm-hmm.
we'll put the link in Swat and we'll send a message, and in Discord itself also.
मतलब
Was not covered in cohort 1.
okay.
So maybe people will join if if we get strength of 2 to 3 people. Tab.
That's a nice idea. That's a nice, but देखो, the thing is only 5 or 6 people will join maximum. Okay.
It's hard to get 6 also because people are not interested much in designing.
Hmm.
He joined.
Okay. Okay. Let me accept him and make him the co-host. Hey Neha, good afternoon. I think she is unable to hear me. Neha, can you hear me? Oh, yeah.
Subhadeep, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, yes, we are able to see your screen.
Okay, so another check. Now I'm gone full screen. You're able to see my screen, and you're
Yes,
also able to see this green cursor here.
yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, cool.
Okay, so now let me share the screen.
Yeah, sure.
Saima, can you check how many people are there on YouTube? Uh, Good evening, Neha and Anis. Can you guys hear me? Uh,
Yes, sure. I can hear you.
okay. So guys, we'll start our session at 2-3. Okay, let's wait for another 3 minutes and then we'll start today's session. So now we'll start today's session. Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's session on Introduction to Design. Today's session will be taken by Balaji Vankataswamy, who is a Canva champion and a design coach. And let me introduce who is Balaji in full details. Okay. So he is a brand strategist and a design coach with 7+ years of experience. Balaji is a brand strategist and a design coach based out on Toronto, Canada. He started his career at Deloitte and later moved on to co-found a startup called Co Cinema, a social media platform for movie buffs to socialize over cinema, and grew it to serve over 10 million views. Okay, he firmly believes that visual content can convey a message to the world more effectively. In the future, everyone will be a creator who needs to create visual content in routine communications. On that note, he is on a mission to help beginners and non-designers to learn design and showcase their content to call upon people to act. He also holds an MBA in marketing from US, and with everything becoming digital, he serves the strategic content and design space. So give up a very warm welcome to Balaji, and he will be taking today's session. Everyone, if you can give up a thumbs up, it will be great. Just put a thumbs up on, yeah. So, welcome Balaji to Antwak.
Thank you, Subhadeep. Thank you so much. Can I share my screen now?
Yes. Let me stop the screen, and now you can share your notes.
Sure. So you're able to see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Good, very good afternoon to everybody. I hope you're having a good weekend and trying to stay awake on a Sunday afternoon is going to be a challenge, and me keeping you awake is going to be a bigger challenge. So I'm sure we'll do our best to make this session as interesting as possible. So my name is Balaji, and I'm based out of Toronto, Canada. So I'm brand strategist and a design coach. So I worked in the brand strategy space for quite some time, and as you know, over the past 18 months or so, a lot of things have moved digital. I see a more and more need for people to learn how to showcase themselves digitally more than anything going forward. So that's the reason why I put together a course to help beginners and non-designers to learn design, because I strongly believe that future is for creators and storytellers who call upon people to act. Um, uh, Going forward, with personal branding becoming a norm, and that is probably the only way to go forward, because more and more people go digital. So how do you set yourself apart? It has to be through content and through visuals in a very creative and a standout fashion. So having said that, there are three things that I want to point out today. See, people tend to remember only 20% of what they read, 10% of what they hear. They retain 80% of what they see. So look at, there's an 80-20 and an 80-10 kind of a difference. So what they see is what they remember. So that's pretty much what is going to be the crux of this entire session, that how do we create meaningful visuals, meaningful content that stands out. So keeping that in mind, let's jump into the session. So before we get into any of these in detail, first let's ask ourselves, why should we learn design? That's the question that I want all of you all to ask, because I want to break this myth here. See, design, when we say design, I am probably, let's say I'm a digital marketing expert, or I am somebody from construction, or I started a new business. Why design? See, design, there are a lot of other names that are included in the word design. For example, there are graphic designers, there are illustration designers, there are publishing designers, there are logo designers, there are motion graphic designers. We are not any of them. Graphic designers, for example, they work on creating a certain element, drawing a certain element. We are not going to do any of that. What we are going to learn today is content design. How do we design our content? That is what we're going to learn today. And that's the myth that I would like to break. We are only focusing on content design. So if somebody asks you, I'm learning design, you have to tell them you're learning content design. Okay. So let's take a minute and have this next couple of minutes as an icebreaker to find out what is design. I just want to have somebody volunteer to just tell me what according to you is design. And going all through this session, there are no right or wrong answers. So please feel free to talk about be free and talk about whatever you think, so that we can add more perspective to the session. So what according to you guys is design? Anybody, one or two people who can volunteer? Sure, go ahead, Saima.
So whatever content we have designing, I can say, is a picturized format of the content. The message we are going to show, it's a picturized format.
Okay, that's a pretty good answer, pretty close answer. Anybody else? So, okay, so let me tell you what I think design is. Very similar, quite similar to what Saima was saying, organizing information. That is what is design, or good design versus not so good design. So what do I mean by that, organizing information? I want you to look at this image on the left. So let's say a square piece of canvas. So let's say we are here to create a webinar post. Okay. So what are the elements? So this is also what I'm also talking to you about, is also the design process that you want to think about. Okay, the process that we have. It's going to have a date and time, topic, theme, speaker name, designation, images, logos, or is there anything else that needs to be there? First, we'll have to figure out all of this, because this is extremely important, because we are organizing information. So the one that you see on the right here is, you cannot really call this a design, but this is something that I found live on, that went live on LinkedIn. So they put out this. So what is this? This is, there is information here, good, but there is no life to this. There is no proper design fundamentals that's being followed. It's just got some information here. So I do that to this design, a design series that I run on Instagram every Wednesday. So I use this to demonstrate how we should look at this, and or how we could change this to. So this is what I've changed it to. So now, just by the visual aspect of it, now what do you think of both? Both are the same events that we're talking about. So this is what I call about organizing information. And with Canva, this is absolutely possible, and anybody with no design knowledge, with knowing today's class on design fundamentals, would be able to create something like this. I just wanted to show this to you, just to give you a feel of what we are going to have at the end of today's and tomorrow's, our next sessions going forward. Okay. So this is a quote that I would like to talk about. Again, most of the people make the mistake of thinking that design has to be good looking, but it's actually not that. Design has to work. Now, going back here, between these, which will be the event that you will visit, or would you be open to registering? I think it's definitely the one on the right. It is not necessarily a better looking one than the one on the left, but it has information properly laid out. You can wherever you look, there's something for you to focus on. So this is what I call as good design. So this is something that I believe in. Good design should build intelligence over information, because every canvas we have certain amount of information that has already been given to us. How do we intelligently put it so that people are able to easily and clearly understand? So next, let's move on to design basics. So This we have about 8 topics to talk about. These are going to be the 8. You don't have to worry about the names here. Everything is going to be very conceptual, very simple, and very straightforward. Emphasis, what does emphasis mean? Something that is of more importance, that is as simple as that. So you don't have to get confused or don't have to think that you have to remember everything. Everything is just very conceptual. So let's move on to emphasis. So folks, in case if I'm going a little fast, Saima, please feel free to let me know. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to stop me at any point. Okay. So emphasis. So emphasis is pretty much what is the first thing that you want your audience to see in a design? What is that one element or the one image or the one text? It can be anything. What is it that you want them to look at? That is what emphasis is all about. Emphasis is when one element stands out. See, the element can be a color that you want to make, that you want people, make that stand out, or it can be something that is bigger, bolder, or brighter. It can be anything. So through that, you create emphasis. So to the parts of your design where you want people to notice first, that's emphasis. Second one is contrast. So most simply, when we talk about contrast, everybody think about it's about colors, which is true. But the contrast in design does not just stop with colors. Contrast can be in the form of a pattern. It can be size, which is big or small. And again, it can be color, light or dark. It can be all of that. In design, it can be any of these. Let me explain that to you. So there are 3 examples that I have here. Let's move from left to right, 1, 2, and 3. So again, as I told you, differences can be patterned, plain, small or big, or light or dark. So the first one on the left, here if you see, it is just with text and color. We have tried to bring in, here again, we'll also be talking about emphasis, because in one particular post, we will have multiple design fundamental topics. Every post will have one or 2 or 3 of them. So here again, if you see, we've chosen color for the text as a contrast, and we try to make an emphasis on the second paragraph using emphasis. The one in the middle is, you can also create a contrast using patterns or elements or an image or whatever. The third one goes by the size, small to big. So mostly if you're trying to illustrate something, we can try using that. So these are the 3 examples for creating contrast. Going forward, we'll have a lot more examples. This is just for you to just to set a context. So next, I'm going to ask you a question, because I have an image here that was a live image that has worked for a customer. So if I can have a volunteer, I have a couple of questions that I would like to ask you guys.
Anyone
Anybody?
want to volunteer, please raise your hand.
There are no right or wrong answers here, so please feel free.
Yeah, Saima.
All right, Saima, cool. Saima, so what is the first color or the first element or the first thing that your eyes focused on in this image?
Orange color and terms, special orders, or food, good food.
Oh. So the first one was the orange color.
Yes.
So that was the intention of making this image. So they wanted to so this particular client wanted to focus on special orders. So just putting special orders in a certain image doesn't really solve anything. So that's why we went with a big contrast using color here. So using that color, we used it for special orders. So it's like hierarchy. We have to get into the mind of the audience or the viewer. So that is how, what is it that I want them to see first? What is it that I want them to see second? A lot of people make this mistake. They put the phone number really big. You'll have to understand, once when somebody is interested in something, they will go find that phone number. So the phone number is not necessarily the first thing that you want them to see. That is the last thing that you want them to see, and that will be the call to action, which is calling them to make the order. So the color is, so here the color was first, special orders was the second, third one is the image, and everything else follows after that. So this is an example to show you emphasis used by color. The next one here, the steam rising from a hot dish, is also the contrast that we tried to make use of with a very plain black background, so that people are able to see the hot dish, the smoke that comes out of it. So here again, if you see, we've tried, so that is the element that we've used as a contrast here. We didn't want anything else, because that itself clearly tells the idea of the post. This was an Instagram highlights that was done for this particular client. So to show you that as an example. Next one is white space. This is the most favorite topic of mine when it comes to design fundamentals, and I think it's a very important topic. And I've put together a couple of slides here to make it as interesting as possible. So white space can, it can really help in adding emphasis, can help in legibility, and helps in grouping. I'm going to show you what that means. You have to understand, white space is like, it's like air, like it is necessary for the design to breathe. I also have another analogy that I would say, white space, design composition, music composition. That's the analogy that I would like to take here. Music composition will be really good when there are certain spots for silence. If not, music is noise. The silence makes the music flow. Same thing in design composition, white space helps to breathe. An example for that. See, as the name suggests, white space does not just apply to the color white. White space is also called negative space. These are the two names they have, negative space and white space. For our context, I'm going to continue to use white space. So white space is the space that is available outside of the elements that we place within a certain canvas. So here again, if you see, it is just this camera and everything else is white space. So there are a lot of breathing space here. So here again, we've used two colors here to contrast, and again to create emphasis, and it is surrounded by white space. Also, when we are choosing pictures to design, we should also make sure there is a certain amount of images with certain amount of white space that we choose, because it could have a lot of benefits going forward. So let us say, there is this person who is baking. So we've found an image that is very similar. I mean, that kind of has the theme of baking in this, and she's trying to make a YouTube poster or whatever you can call it. So here, adding this small text here makes this text pop. This color creates the contrast, and with this amount of white space, it helps people to, there is a lot of breeze coming in. So that's how I want you to, visualize this. There is a lot of breeze that is able to go in. And if I had made this really big, it won't be sufficient. It'll be too crowded, and it'll take away the essence out of the entire post. See, design is very simple. Good design is lack of clutter. That is as simple as that. We should never complicate design. It should be very bare minimum basic. So this is a very important example according to me, because a lot of people ask me, between this poster on the left and the one on the right. See, I have given white space here. I have given white space here. I've also given white space. Let's say 15%, 10%, let's say another 10% and another 10%. This is good. Then why do you tell me that the one on the right is a better one? If you knew, if you saw the first page where I talk about white space, it is also very essential for grouping. When our eyes move, it is easier when it is grouped together like this. There is a lot of white space here, so that there is a bit of distance between this element and this element that we've placed. So this flow of air is much better than eyes going first here, then again here, then again here. So here we have to do 3 actions. Here it is only 2. This is just an example for me to, for you to understand how to make use of white space. So this is a common mistake people tend to make. This is good. There is nothing wrong about it, but when compared to this is way better. And this is how you need to look at design. This is another example where certain times there would be big text that you'll have to be working around. So it will be edge to edge or end to end. Even here, using white space, how we can make it as breathable as possible. So that is why that is why instead of using own here or putting OWN here, this is an idea that try to put it in so that there is white space that is flowing from one end to the other. It makes because this itself is a little complicated. In this, how do we make it as easy as possible for the human eye? Now, as I told you, once again, I would like to reiterate design composition and musical composition. It is the silence. It is the same that we use in design composition as well. So the next one is movement. So this can help create grouping. Again, going back, emphasis and improve legibility. So movement is again, how do you want the human eye to move from what to what? That is what movement is all about. So here again, this is another example of a book cover. So, so the lines and color directs us towards certain parts of the design. So the first thing that you actually look at is actually the title. Actually, this space actually, not just the title, it is this space. We also used multiple colors for creating contrast to create emphasis at every stage. So here again, we've used text color for contrast. So inside this, it's like there is a bit of sun that is moving into the space. And then you have the author's name, and there is a lot of white space around. So this is how I wanted the movement to be. Now, I'm sure everybody are familiar with Godfather. So what is the first? There are only 2 elements in this. The first element that all of us would look at is the Godfather text. Then automatically it creates a context. Then automatically we move our eyes to the red color image of the hero of the film or the main character of the film. That is all the posters. This was, is, and will always be one of the most powerful posters in cinema. So again, using white space here, so which is negative space. So here they've used ton of white space. You first see this and then automatically move here. They captured the theme. Also, you can go online and Google and see a lot of posters for the movie Jaws, the Steven Spielberg movie Jaws. A lot of those posters are also done really well. That kind of uses this particular concept. The next one that we'll be talking is repetition. So repetition brings consistency to our design. That is one. And repetition also brings a lot of familiarity to design. There is another myth here that I would like to break. The myth is repetition, showing the same thing again, is a very bad idea. We should not repeat. We should, each time there should be something new for the audience to see. This is a myth and it is not right. Repetition can create familiarity. I will give you I'll give you two examples. So this is one of the courses that I promote or that I teach. So this was a carousel post. It can be on Instagram and LinkedIn. See, the first 30% of the post on a vertical, 30% of the post, all of this is similar. And again, the bottom 15% is the same everywhere. Only the content inside changes. So here, when the viewer sees the post for the first time, everything is new. Second time, this he is familiar of. Third time, he is familiar of this and this. So the fourth one that he sees, he only has to focus here. He doesn't have to focus anywhere else. Now when he comes back, he knows both of these is pretty much the same. So they focus only on the ones that are there in the middle that keep changing. Here again, I have given the word follow here. When he reaches the fourth slide or third slide or the fourth slide, he's pretty much done with everything. And then this is the call to action that I expect, one of the call to actions that I expect from him. So he might be drawn to doing that more, because once you tell them more than once, twice, thrice, then slowly it starts to sink in. So that is the so that is what a repetition can really do. Again, it can build, as we rightly tell here, it can build a pattern, which is what we want, and then it can emphasize on a certain message. So the repetition in design is absolutely important, especially when you're making carousels. And if you're trying to promote a certain product, it is good to have certain elements that are same throughout. Just a fun fact: do you know this, that 95% of the world knows Coca-Cola? 95% of the world. How is that possible? Because they are extremely repetitive when it comes to showing an image of the Coca-Cola can. So they asked, what is it that you all remember? They said when somebody hears of the word Coca-Cola, all that they visualize in their mind is the red color and the white color text. They have kept this across decades. They have made sure this is always there in a Coca-Cola's poster, wherever it might be in print media, be in social media, or be it anywhere. So that is the power of being repetitive. Repetition, that's the power of repetition. So you create a pattern and you create that emphasis. It is very, very powerful. Okay, I hope you found this part useful. I want you to take note of this. So then let's move on. So let's talk about repetition within the canvas. Here again, repetition works wonderfully well. So just like music, it will make it predictable, and it will give you the real visual beat that you would like like your audience to undergo. So here again, the first image that you see on the left, this was for a carousel that I made. So I asked a certain question before this, and then I wanted the audience to think, when I say, what if I just said what and put a question mark there? It still conveys, but when I say what, so they think, what can it be? So these are all small elements that if we use in content design, it really works. So have you seen a lot of images that talk about sale? A poster that's about a sale, they'll have sale will be about 5 or 6 sales they'll have. Just like the giveaway, the post that you see on the right, they'll have that. Why? Because they want to emphasize. They want to create a pattern in your mind because you are looking at that post at that point. The one in the middle is using a certain element and multiplying it. So that also creates a certain level of pattern in your mind. So when thinking of repetition, this can also be another way of looking at it. Okay. So next one is proportion. So as the name goes, proportion is pretty much size, quantity. So here, how the size and quantity, how can it be relatable? So that's what proportion is in design. So I'll give you a couple of examples on that. No matter how many objects or elements we use, they should always be proportionate. This is a small example that I would like to show you. See, there is a table, there is a pencil holder, a laptop, and a table lamp. This one makes absolutely no sense. There is no perspective that we are building out here. Using proportion, the main reason why we use proportion is to build perspective, build a story, or show them an ambience uh, for all of those reasons. Now, for the same, now doesn't this look more natural? This looks real to life. You're able to, these are all very, very simple things. As I already told you, design is absolutely simple. We just have to make sure we follow all of these principles each time we sit down to design. This is another example that is there. So here again, talking about proportion. The one on the left and one on the right. The mistake on the left one is the logo is way big. It is given too much emphasis, which is not at all necessary. So we've corrected that on this one here. And the second part of it, this looks fine to me actually. But again, when we have to, if we have a checkbox called white space, I feel it is too crowded and there is no breathability there. So that's why, we have some air flowing here. I told you it has to move from end to end. So also when you on a hierarchy standpoint, you want the person to move through the whole design. So this one here, they have to go to the go to the right, then they have to come to the left, then they have two images. There is no much space here. Again, they have to read something. It is kind of vertically, it is packed. Here, it is left aligned, both of these. You move, look at these images, and then there is space, and then there is this information. So no matter how many objects or elements we have, they should always be proportionate. That is very important. And of course, checking white space and hierarchy and so on and so forth. Make sure everything is all properly placed and is easy on the eyes. Many a times, we look at so much of digital content, we consume so much of digital content every day that we don't just take a step back to think about the amount of content that our eyes goes through every day. It is actually staggering amount of content. So, we say that, I give up. Oh, I'm done. I give up. So that is the signal that we get from our mind. Oh, I'm done. Enough. I can't do anything more. There is something called even your eyes pass on the information saying, I give up. That happens to bad design. If your eyes decides to give up, however big the brand is or whatever it is not going to register. But if you make a good design, doesn't needn't necessarily have to be the brand. People will make a notice of because your eyes are okay with it and it wants to go through and see that particular visual. So there's something called eyes will also give up. Our designs should also keep that in mind. More than you giving up, your eyes should not give up. You should not allow your audience eyes to give up. Okay. So the next one is balance. As the name suggests, balance is how we position objects into a design. So also if you see this particular image here, it's kind of gives you a clear representation of what I'm trying to talk about. So balance includes the, again, coming back about white space compared to other design elements. So the weight here, the balance that we give here. I'll give you another example. So one way to master balance is to think of the element, each of them as weight. So here again, let's say this one looks really good because there is a lot of white space here. So let's say if I made this like really big and made it super bold, you think it would sit very well in this, even though there was a little bit of white space? So that's the balance that we are talking about here. So here again, as I told you, this particular image, and let's say you have some text also here. Let's say I moved this particular image to the middle, brought another layer of line on the top, and again something below this. There is too much of, it is very uneven. So here, if you want to write something, this also stands out. This area also stands out. So then again with weight, how we place elements at what corners, how much of emphasis are we giving to that also is something that we need to think about. So in balance, we have two things that I'm going to talk about. One is symmetrical and asymmetrical. Symmetrical, again, as this image suggests. So here we have clearly placed it. So we have 6 different images, but we have placed it in order. So this is called safe placing it very safe within a clear structure. So when you're having multiple elements, placing it like this makes it much easier for people to follow, because human mind always goes from left to right. So that's why a lot of people always place logos on the top left corner, especially in letterheads and things like that. So that's pretty much how the human mind works and the eyes go. So the flow is very clear here. So that is an asymmetrical type of a design. The next one is asymmetrical. So asymmetrical is again, it is still balanced, but it is not completely close to symmetrical. So here again, if you see, this area is balanced. So this is fine. So let's say if I have this podcast mic somewhere below here, and let's say if this one is somewhere on the top, where is the connection? There is no connection. Because it is placed closer to each other and there is a ton of white space, that still works. That still works. So your eyes can move everywhere, and then it is eventually going to come here, or it can focus here and then zoom out. It'll still have a lot of white space. So that's something to keep in mind. Next one is alignment. This is to make everything feel more balanced, more easy to consume. So I'm going to repeat again, as I said, repetition. I'm going to use the same example that I showed you for something else. I'm going to use it for the same again in just a minute. So when you think of alignment, I want you to, whenever going forward, when you think of design, just visually think about this. The 4 corners: left align, right align, top align, bottom align. This one here, we are again bringing something called center align, vertically and horizontally. These are just visuals. Just keep in mind when you design later. And these are horizontal and vertical. This is more of a column style. So when you follow this, it will be more professional, and it will be a very complete kind of a design when you keep these in mind, especially alignment. Okay. So here again, if you see, we've kept everything left aligned. See, there is a lot of space here. We could, as we mentioned, I could have easily moved it here. Ton of space here. But having it all under in one side, it makes it so much easier for the human mind and for your eyes to process something. So again, when I say process, only after you look at it, you'll start to process. So to make them look, if you have it aligned like this, people are much more interested to look at it. So here again, the date is here, and then so it's like this. They come here, they move out. That was the idea of this. And you see the time is actually the last thing that I normally give importance to, because if somebody is interested, they will make that extra effort to go find it out. You don't have to make this look super big, especially in certain posters that I see, they use the Zoom link. Everything will be size 12. The Zoom link will be size 16. I would be like, that ruins everything. Why are we doing that? We shouldn't be doing that. If somebody is interested, even if the Zoom link is, of course, it has to be legible. You cannot, make that tough for them, but that can be a normal size. It does not have to be anything extraordinary. Okay. So alignment, as we say, focuses on the relationship between elements, structure, and order. So these are the three things that I want you to remember: elements, structure, and order. Because our human mind looks for structure and order. That's how we are tuned. We always look for structure and order. So we have to make sure that is done, that is there in a design, and alignment is a really important point that we have to think about, consider actually. So with this, we come to the end of design basics. So I think next, let's move on to color theory. Before that, any questions, folks, that you want me to touch upon? If you guys are okay, we can move on. Give you another 5 seconds, and then we can move on.
Guys, if you have any question, please raise your hand, or else we can move on. Okay, Nia is giving a thumbs up. I think it's okay. So Balaji, we can move on.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So next one is color theory. So here we're going to talk about colors and contrast. Again, in color theory, folks, there is a lot going on about color. We are all non-designers. If we get into the, go to Google and search for color theory, your head will start spinning. So I'm going to show you some very simple steps to follow when you want to choose colors. So that will help you with choosing your color and working with colors, because this color is a very big topic. And again, as I told, illustrators, graphic designers, publishers, all of them can go into super detail in this, but we don't have to go in that detail. I'm going to make this as simple as possible for you. Now here, if you say colors and contrast is the main thing. Now, if you see, this one is a very, very bad choice of colors here. This will never sit well here. Now, let's say you are new to this and you're completely stuck, don't know what to do. What do I do now? It's a very easy way. The very easy way here. Canva, just type in canva.com/colors. You will have 3 options where there is an option for color wheel. I'm going to show it to you, and I'm going to show you how we came up with this in less than a couple of seconds. So let's go to color wheel. Okay. So as I told you, go to canva.com/colors. You will have these 4 choices. Later on, you can go check them out. So let's go to color wheel. Okay. Now this is the color. You can pick one color, whatever color you like. You can pick and paste the code here. So it will automatically pick. So here, if you see, you have multiple options. Complementary, monochromatic. Don't worry about all these names. If you want to learn about them, you have information here. What is monochromatic? Monochromatic is one color, lighter shades of the same color in the color wheel. That is what is monochromatic. So here again, all of these have their own, funda. You can go take a look at it, or if you're not interested, you don't have to. So here, let's say I want a analog guess. That's what it's called. So here, this automatically picked for this particular color. It automatically picked a contrasting color for me. All that I had to do is just go here, copy this, bring it back here and paste it. So straight away your contrast is taken care of. So it is not necessarily for this. You can choose any color in the color wheel. So let's say you're talking about, so this is like more of a Dunkin' Donuts kind of colors here. If you see, these are all exactly Dunkin' Donut colors. So if let's say you want something green, this will help you pick this, and it's very, very easy. Okay. So then I would like to introduce you. Just give me a second. Yeah. I would like you to introduce you to a website called Colors. It's called COOL, Coolers. So it's Colors. Okay. So it's one of my favorite. And see, there are a ton of sites like these. Don't go looking at everything because it will then get very overwhelming and confusing. So keep one or two, but don't go beyond that because we are not trained designers and we don't need that level of detailing to do anything. Okay, so just keep it to one or two. It's just my suggestion, but you can do whatever you wish to though. So this is Colors. So according to me, this is a really, really very well done site. Here, if you want to generate a palette, if you just click on generate, it will auto generate a certain palette for you. And then if you want, so then these are the six or seven elements here. If you're looking for a color picker, you have something here. So again, so if you copy paste the code here, it will give you all of the. So let's say CMYK is for a print. So RGB and hex in Canva, it will be more of hex codes here. But somebody asks you what is the RGB of this particular code, when you come and put the hex there, it will automatically give you the RGB. Just in case if somebody asks you, or you want to get into a little more of detailing and want to learn more about it, this is one way of this. HSL is also another important terminology. So all the hues, temperature, color harmony. See here again, you'll be seeing those names again. It'll give you all of this. Whatever you saw there is also present here. All of these, it's pretty detailed, pretty interesting. So here again, they also have a contrast checker also. It'll also give you a rating of what it is. So it's pretty interesting. So the next one I like to talk about is gradients. Gradients again has become a very famous use of color here. So if you want to create a gradient, you can choose 3-color gradient or 2-color gradient, and they have tons of gradient examples here. You can browse more gradients. So once you click on this, once you just hover here, it will give you the hex code for both. You can use that. So also you can use gradients like this and write text on top. Let's say you're doing a quote, you poster on quotes or something like that. You can try all of these. Then, of course, the contrast checker. You want to create a collage. You can bring in an image and it'll pick out the colors for you. So that's also possible. So if you click on explore, they have color palettes, trending color palettes here. So here again, if you hover, you'll get the hex code. So just click on this, it'll copy. You don't have to press Control C or Command C or anything of that sort. You have tons of options here that you can choose from. So after the class, maybe you guys can take a look at this, spend some time. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them in the next session also. Let's go back. Any questions here until this colors part of it? I have one more to talk about. You can move on. All right. So the next one that I want you to keep in mind is, so whenever you're choosing colors and working with colors in a for a particular slide or a carousel or a poster, whatever, don't go more than 2 to 3 colors. So it is always good to keep it within 2 to 3 colors. So it is split into three: your primary color, your secondary color, and your tertiary color. We should give you an example. So your 60% should be a primary color, 30% should be a secondary color, and 10% should be a tertiary color. It's a 60-30-10 rule. So if you notice here, the primary color, which is white, is pretty much a background color. Most of the times that ends up to be a background color. So 30% is the black color that I've used here. That's probably goes for the text. And 10% sometimes we use it for highlighting something or to bring in a certain element here, or if we bring in an image or something here and make that. So that's pretty much the context. Good to follow the 60-30-10 rule. 5% plus or minus, 10% plus or minus here or there is fine, but just make sure you also think about this when choosing colors and using them. Okay, so these are the very basics of colors. If you make use of these, your content will really pop out, and it will be really simple but very effective, and it will be a standout kind of a content, because this one is a super simple design, but it conveys what it has to convey, because this is what I want them to see. So straight away you have something, you have highlighted something, you've told about, you marked something, and then the call to action is go to the next one. Your eyes move really well. There is good level of breathing space. There is flow of white space everywhere, horizontally, vertically. So people will then move to your next slide. It's easier on their eyes. Does not have too much information. So with this, we come to the end of color theory. We have one more item that we'll talk about, and we'll take a short break. Next one is fonts and typography. Again, people go crazy with fonts, and so here again, keep it simple. I'll also show you how Canva will help you with choosing your fonts. So the main thing with fonts is we have to focus on spacing and readability. These are the two main things that we'll have to focus on when we're doing content design. Okay. So like colors in fonts also, we have three categories. One is the main heading, subheader, and paragraph copy. So these are pretty much split into these three. Okay. So here again, don't choose more than 2 fonts. It is better to keep only 2. Heading and subheader can be 2 fonts, and the difference between the subheader and the paragraph copy here, the font is the same. The size, the contrast here is the size. Okay, this is something to keep in mind. So some very rarely people use a third style. Let's say a cursive style or continuous writing style. I'll give you an example for that. So just to say it has to be minimal words. It cannot be even a sentence. It has to be minimal words, so that you're trying to bring in a certain emphasis on something. Only at that time you use a third font. Okay. So I have 4 examples here for you just to give you an idea. So I want you to focus on the first one. So straight away, there is a problem with the typography here. The good morning world is, people are not going to spend more than a fraction of a second. When they don't, it is not legible, we're done. So this is a problem in this one. So I think we have fixed it in the second one. But here, there is a readability issue here. It's spaced too close to each other. In the third one, we have given way too much space here. And here again, the Canva show that we've mentioned here, the alignment is completely out, and it is very tough for us to to see it. So this again doesn't work. But whereas the one here, there is enough of white space on either ends here. Sorry, here and here it is properly placed. The size of this and the size of this is kind of proportionate. The weight is similar or a little less. Here we've used bold. Here we've used the same font, thin. And this is the Canva show is more legible. We have left aligned it. This should clearly give you an idea of how we should place text and fonts. Again, these are bare basics, but these following the basics help you go a really long way. So that's why this example, I personally think, is a very important one for you to keep in mind. Okay. So before that, I also want to show you this. So let's say when choosing fonts here, so there are tons of fonts in Canva that you can choose from. So let's say also when you click here, you have sections. So if you want handwriting fonts, you can just select handwriting fonts here. And if you are looking for headings, just for headings, they have fonts. So you don't have to really, figure out what is it that you want to do, because we are not trained designers. This already gives you a clear idea of all of that. And then paragraph fonts, sans serif fonts. Serif and sans serif are two main types of fonts. You can Google them if you want to know about it. So again, if you're looking at for a bold font, you have a lot of options here. So that is one way Canva has really broken it down. So it is easy for you without doing much thought. You'll be able to understand everything. So the next one, so right now let's go take a quick break and let's stretch. Subhadeep, how long can we do this? A couple of minutes, 5 minutes max?
Yeah, we can take a break of 5 minutes max.
5 minutes, yeah. So I think we are at exactly 1 hour into the session. We are at 3 p.m. So we'll meet at 3 or 5.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect then.
Okay, guys.
See you all in 5 minutes.
Yeah, guys, we will see you in next 5 minutes at 3:05.
Yeah. Subhadeep, I'm back.
Okay. So guys, we'll resume our session now. I think
So,
everyone is there, no one left, so we can start.
cool. Any questions until now? Anybody wants to ask me something before we move on to Canva now? So with that, first session was all about design fundamentals. So before we get into Canva, anybody have any questions, or we can move on?
One, my question was regarding the palette which you posed. So that palette had
Sorry, you're not audible. Who's this? Can I have your name?
Neha.
Neha. Okay, sure, Neha. You weren't audible. Sorry, can you repeat it?
I just posed my question.
Yes.
Okay. Yet to see it. So believe you're able to get, okay, just got it. Palette had a lot of colors, so it was a bit confusing to me to understand how to use it. Sure. So let me go back. Yeah. So let's take, for example, this particular palette. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. See, every palette will have one dark color and a lighter color. Of course, all of these are light, but the lightest one is probably this. So this would definitely be either your background, or you can use a light background and then choose the dark one as your text, so on and so forth. That's pretty much how you can think of a palette. But here again, if you see, okay, this is something that is will be interesting, I guess. Yeah. See here, using this, the lightest color on the right corner here, using this one, and let's say using this one for text is probably a bad idea. You will have to go to the last three here. It is just visual only. Hope I was able to make some sense. This one and this one, bad combination. The light one and the more of the darker shades, either background or font. So let's choose one more. Let's choose a tough one. See, this is almost a monochromatic kind of a color palette. Here again, you'll have to go to the almost, not even this one, I would say, go to the darkest and use this. We'll have to use the contrast checker to check this out. But if you're trying to look for a particular color in the same palette, you can probably choose one from here and one from somewhere else. So it is more of a logical and a visual decision that you take more than anything else. This is just to give you an idea of all the colors that are possible that you can use here. Hope I made your made your question clear.
Thank you.
There is another
Okay.
question by
Okay. Yeah.
Neha. Also
Also for color
yes.
contrasts, we have the color wheel. Do we have something like that for fonts? Good point. Actually, you know what? Good that you brought up. I just missed showing you this. There is something called Font Joy. Here again, when you click here on hope you're able to see this, folks. Subhadeep, you're able to see this site?
Yes, we are able to see it.
Yeah, it is called fontjoy.com. Okay. So here again, if you click on generate, it will automatically generate something for you. So here, here, if you go look, you can look, let's say you are looking for if you know certain fonts, once you get little familiar, there is something called Montserrat. Okay, so let's say, okay. So I've chosen this. I can then go here, and if I already know certain fonts, I can go choose here. It'll give you an idea of how it look like also. You can use the auto generate one, or if you're a little familiar with names, you can check it out. This one is pretty famous and a lot of people use this. So here again, you can use it in full white background. You can also check it in a little darker background also, how this whole thing works. There are a lot of, and then you can just go to Google and type for font pairings. It will then give you a lot of suggestions. You can try that also. Hope I've answered that for you. We'll move on. I assume we can. Okay. Sure. So we've done the design fundamentals, and now let's move on to Canva. I'm going to give you a quick tour. So these are the 6 items that I'll be taking you through. Before that, let me just answer, talk to you about a few basic things that I think you should know before we get in. I think most of you all are familiar, but in the interest of everybody, I will go into a little more detail here. Okay. So the one question that I get asked the most is, what is the difference between the free and pro? Should I definitely go for the pro if I want to ace my designs? So this is the answer that I have for y'all. If you're starting off learning to, getting your hands into design, getting a feel of it, I would highly encourage you to go only with the free version. Why? Because look at the numbers here. You have like 250,000 free templates, 200,000 plus photos, and look at all this. All of these run in thousands, multiple thousands actually. So you also get a brand kit. That is also, they also give you get folder options also. So with all of these, just to get your hands dirty and to get you thinking, go only with the free. Don't worry about the pro. Once you start using it for a longer period of time, and if you see yourself creating more content for digital marketing or anything going forward, then I would highly encourage you to move to pro. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to answer this upfront. The next one, why Canva really works for a lot of people is this. See, we are all non-designers. We put a lot of time and effort in this because we are not designers. The effort has to be much more. So most of the other tools, like I have great respect for all Adobe tools. Don't get me wrong, be it Photoshop or Lightroom or any of those tools for that matter, or Pixelmator or any of those tools. See, the learning curve is very steep, and they are not very flexible. You have to know a lot of basics, and I mean not even basics. You have to know a lot of, or rather, you have to remember a lot of things for you to maneuver through through the use of a certain tool, use of a certain element, and so on and so forth. And it gets very time consuming. And the main problem is there is no good starting point. And the options are there, but they're very complex. So without knowing, without being passionate about design, but we want to get something done because we are, through enthusiasm, we want to get something done. These are all big barriers that, stop us from, learning those tools. I think Canva is checked each one of them and made the learning curve really easy. It is very flexible. And see, when you're completely new to something, you have a lot of patience, but with the beginning itself, if you're not progressing, you will give up. So that is where Canva has really nailed it. So this is what the 5 reasons I think I really like Canva. There are tons of templates for you to get started. There are so many for you to get started in so many categories, which we'll go into detail. And then the second one is the most important thing. That's why I've given it a crown. That's my personal favorite. Possibility to search as you imagine. What do you mean by that? See, the three, 4 slides before, the break slide, this one. All that I did was went to the search there and searched for break. Within 5 seconds, I found this. This is exactly what I had in my mind. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't have to know any of this. I don't have need to draw. I don't have to create a perspective to put anywhere. All that I did was click on that. It was there. I just had to properly place it somewhere inside the canvas. That's it. So that, I think, is the most possibility to search as you imagine, because imagination just keeps on coming. When you're sitting to work on something, you imagine a lot of things. Just for the same space of imagination, if you have something to go look for, I think that changes the entire ball game completely. So that's why I think, and it is extremely feature rich for 99% of the most desired actions. And you won't believe, I would say every 2 weeks they keep adding features. Sometimes certain courses that I build, 2 weeks later there'll be something new. I'll have to, add. I keep on adding something to the courses. It's not like, you prepare one and you can run it, because they keep adding so many new things. This month they added photo enhance, and they added 2 photo features which weren't there 2 weeks ago. So, and it's easy to create, resize. Resize is a huge thing which we're going to talk about, and all of this saves a ton of time. And you have access to photos, videos, and music and elements, all of these in thousands, all of them in one place. You don't have to go anywhere else. Of course, there are a lot of other options, but there is more than what we need, and these are the 5 reasons why I personally think Canva is a winner for me, because I spend about an average about 4 to 5 hours on Canva every day. So just like, let's Google it. I think Canva is your Google for design. Why do you say that? Now let's jump into the tool itself. So there are 2 areas that we're going to focus on. One is the search. Search can help you in many, many ways. One is, the main thing is, when you're creating design, you have to know the dimensions. And we are not designers. We don't do this repetitively for us to keep it in our thoughts. We just come once in a while, design. Most of the people do only once in a while. So it's as simple as that. So you just, let's say you want to do something for Instagram. All that you type here is Instagram, and right away, if you want to do a post, it's 1080 by 1080. If you want to do reels, it's 1080 by 1920. So any of this is already pre-built. All that you do is click on this, you will have the canvas open. It is the same for everything. So this is for choosing the sizes. This helps in that. It can be TikTok, it can be anything. Now, not just that. So let's say you are trying to design a fitness, something to do with fitness. Let's go click on fitness here. As you do in Google, just click on enter. You will have tons of images that pop up right here for you to look at. Tons. So also, let's say I'm trying to use, let's say I want to demonstrate, show some differences or something like that. I just put 2 halves. You'll get something on those lines also. So let's say bullets, or you can go say you're trying to create a checklist. As you imagine, I'm doing this as I'm imagining. This is not pre-planned. See, straight away. They're not necessarily only a topic, even so a checklist or anything of that sort. Again, birthday, you'll have a lot here. So here again, you can pick themes, you can make selections, and again, really one other amazing feature is, let's say you already have a theme for the birthday party. Let's say the color is blue or green. I'm just making this up. all the green color ones will only show up. That I think is something that is really amazing. So, you know, you go, I highly encourage you to go play around with this particular thing. And if you have any questions, I'll have it answered during the next session. So that is one. So here again, this part, any category, video you want to make, presentation you want to make, any of those categories are already here. You can go make your selection here. Tons of stuff here. All of these banners, all of these. So your designs, the last few designs that you open will be here. If you want to see all your designs, you can go click on this. Click here on your right corner. Now coming to the column on the left here. So here, this is your folder section. You can have your own folders here. And then the big feature here is brand kit. This is a free, and so in free version you'll have one, and in the pro version you can have multiple ones. So I'll just give you an idea. So this is my brand kit. So whatever I use very regularly, the images that I upload, it's again very straightforward. You just click on this plus and it will open up, and you can add. You can set your brand colors. Also, your brand colors, you can have multiple levels also. So let's say this, just like fonts, you have heading fonts and subheading fonts and paragraph fonts like this. Let's say for headings, you only use, big brands have, for headings, they use only a particular font. For subtext, they will use one particular font. They cannot, change it. So you can have multiple levels of colors also. So here again, these are the two fonts that I normally use. If you want to upload new fonts that are not there in Canva, and if you buy a license or other Google free Google fonts, yes, you can download it to your desktop, save it to whichever location which you normally do. Click on upload font. It will again open up, and you click on that. It will ask you for a permission, and it's very straightforward to do that. So here again, if I want to add, I'm on the pro account. So if you want to add a brand kit, I can click on this. So straight away, I can create a brand kit. So, and then I have a ton of folders here because, so these are all the folders that you see here, but the ones that I use regularly are the ones that I have it here. It is very easy to do that. It's just like going and, pinning certain fonts. So let's say I go here. If I click on this one, it automatically gets added here, and focus on the left column on the left. If I want to move it up or down, that is also possible. I can manually move it also. Now at some point I don't want, I can go inside this and choose and let's say unstar this, or I can just click on this, it will get unstarred. So these are pretty much the home page tour. So here again, we have templates. If you want to look at other things, you can. Features, photos, free photos, backgrounds, nature. But if you want to look at something very particular, you can. If you want to print products, make your logos on t-shirts, so on and so forth. All of these, which of course we'll go into detail. So this is the home page. Now coming into the canvas, I call it the canvas, not Canva, canvas. Canvas page, it's pretty straightforward. So this column that you see here is where all your action items are. So this is pretty much, I've opened this in a presentation template. So all of these straight away built out templates for you. Here again, if you're looking for particular templates, let's say human resources, I'm just making this up. So human resources templates automatically open up. So there are 12 in this. If you click on this, you have access to everything else. So you can see all the slides in one place. So this is the elements tab that you see here. So you have recently used lines and shapes, graphics, your video, audio, charts. With this, we'll be talking about it tomorrow. Frames, grids. So frames is all of these. This I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes. So if you want to upload any content, these are all the recently uploaded ones. If you want to upload something, just go here. You can. And tomorrow in the tips and tricks session, I'll teach you a few more how to upload media tricks. So this is where all your photos are. So here again, this is where your text is. So here again, if you see here, this is my brand kit. So if I choose, let's say, my other brand strategy brand kit, all of this changes. Okay, let's go back to Canva. So if I want to create a heading, if I click on this, automatically whatever font that I have set for my Canva brand kit will automatically open. The size is 38. It's all preset. So you don't have to spend too much of time. So it's already there. Okay. And then these are again font pairings. Sorry, not font pairings, font styles that you see here. In case if you're looking for something, there are at least I think 60 or 80 or 100 here. So that will give you an idea. So the next one is style. So here again, your font and your color palette. So these are the two that I have. So they're both there. And then if you want to look at other palettes here, if you click, it will get automatically added also, which we do see like this. It gets automatically added, which I do not want to at this point. So that's also possible. Okay. So then these are all the audio tracks that you have. So again, backgrounds. You can just click, it automatically adds backgrounds. It resizes it for you. You don't have to, it's pretty much one click. This is like a kind of gradient. So all of these are subheadings for all of them. You can do a lot here. Okay. 1 second, go back. Yeah. So there's a very interesting tab called brand fetch. So all the most famous brands are already mentioned here. So let's say you have Coca-Cola here. So let's say you want Dropbox. You don't have to go to Google. You can pretty much try to get it off the shelf here. Most of the fonts you can get it off the shelf here. You don't have to go searching for it outside. So then starred are the items that I have recently liked. So here again also, so let's say we do fitness. Okay. So let's say you're browsing here and then, you think, you know what, I actually like this. You can click on star. That would automatically get added to the starred section here. I'll have to refresh it, but just to let you know, I can do that. So also, let's say I'm trying to bring in, so let's say this particular element, let's say I go here, let's say any of these elements that I'm looking at, and let's say I like this, I use Instagram icon a lot. I can go click on this and then star it. You can also star elements, you can star posts, you can do all of that also. So all of them will live here in this space. QR code generator, I'm going to talk about this in a little while. So again, the logos, what you saw in the brand kit are also available in your canvas space. So you don't have to keep going there. So here you just click on this, right away it gets added. You don't have to, just saves a ton of time. So all the folders that you saw there are also available here. So then there are a lot of other things, a lot of app integration. Pixels and Pixabay are your photos. There are like thousands of photos, thousands or even millions there. You can connect to Facebook and you can do all of that. And then you can check out all of these. I don't use any of these. You can also connect your Google Photos also, which is a new feature that they've recently added. And the one that got added 10 days ago is the draw feature. Especially when you're using an iPad, you can also draw now using an Apple Pencil or on Android also. You can use the Samsung Pencil or whatever they call it. You can also do that. So this is pretty much your the search, but the search and the other main action items or action areas within Canva. So that is that. So the next one that we're going to talk about is templates. So I think we also covered templates also here to the options. Of course, as the course goes, we will also see more of that. We've also spoken about the sidebars, showed you a few elements, and I also showed you the brand kit. And again, export is pretty straightforward again. So for your export, you just click on this. So there are options, either you want it in PNG, JPEG, PDF, PDF print. I normally use PDF print um, whenever I want to export a PDF. SVG is a vector style that, let's say, people want this in PSD format, which is the Photoshop format. You know that it is not possible. So if we give it to them in SVG, it'll be easier for them to edit. I think next month they're coming with a Illustrator. You can actually export it in Illustrator, and Illustrator files you can import it to Canva. That's coming up next month. If you want a video and so on and so forth, can be done. So also, if you want a particular, not all, just particular slides to be selected and downloaded, you can do that also. So that is your export option. Okay. So now let's move on to the interesting part, which is the Canva Business Essentials. So we're going to talk about 6 items here: sizes, profile picture, business cards, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So let's do the sizes first. See, as I again told you, we are not regular designers. If you want to look at sizes, not necessarily, I'm not talking about social media sizes. Yes, they are already available there. But if you want to get an idea of other things, you can, canva.com/sizes. You can also get your A4, A series. All of those are also available here. Let's say documents. Let's go click on view all. Let's say we're looking for a flyer. Oh, sorry, go back. Flyer. So you already, half sheet. What is the format? Suppose you're working with clients. If you don't understand the exact size, you already have some sizes here. And here right away, you also have some designs that you can right away take and edit. That's also possible. So this is one space where you can find all the sizes. Let's say you're making a book, you're making a greeting card, whatever. This is just one repository that's got sizes for everything, just for you to keep in mind, just in case you're stuck. Okay. Then the next one that I would like to talk about is your profile picture. This, for some reason, a lot of people don't take this very seriously. LinkedIn says that you have 14 times more visits, 36 times more chances for you to get, for somebody to click on your profile and come. The same applies with Instagram also, because in Instagram when you search, it's actually very small. So unless you have a really nice, very clear image, then you don't have a good chance of people being encouraged to come and see your profile, which is pretty much what we want, right? So, and also, just a profile picture, a lot of people have it. So how are we going to stand out? So I'm going to give you 4 examples, or I'm going to show you 4 different styles of how you could make a standout profile image for yourself. There are more, but I'm going to show you 4 here. These are the 4 styles. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through each of them and show you how you'll be able to do that using Canva. Right. So to create this effect here, you have to get the frame. So for that, you go to the element section. Okay. So you come to frames. This is the first choice I've made. Of course, there are other choices, but I've made the first choice. And then you have to add a circle. To add a circle is very easy. Just click on C. See, a circle gets automatically added. And then change it to whichever color you want it to. And then that's ready. So then place this color behind this. This gets formed. Move to the next one. So now I've just placed it for you here. So what you do here is duplicate two images here. Take one image. This is very straightforward. Hey folks, if I'm going a little fast, please feel free to, let me know if I have to go slow. Okay. So just take this, drag and drop it. That's your first step. Now if you see, you're just seeing a plain square here. I want you to double click on this. When you double click on this, it changes to circles on the corner. I'll do this once again. Double click, this changes. So I want you to watch this end of this circle here and my head, okay, in this image. Just drag this a tad bigger of how much you want the image to come out. I think this is probably good. Okay, this is just a personal judgment, so there's nothing right or wrong here. Okay. So once you're done, make sure you place this properly in the center as well, because you've dragged it to one end. Okay. All set. Now using this image, so see, if you bring this, it'll get added. So make sure you click on Command or Control in your keyboard so that it does not get added when you bring it here. Okay. So I'm having it pressed at this point. So now what you would have to do is you would have to match that size. So what you do is you choose some corner. So here I'm choosing the ear, my ears, EAR, ear here, and then trying to make it, sorry. See, this is more of a judgment, okay, that you'll have to make. Kind of nailed it, I think. Yeah, this looks perfect. Okay. Now this is overlapping. Now what do I do? Again, double click. Now this is the image that is on top of that image. Okay. So here again, I want you to watch. Double click. This opens up like this. You can see this white color corner here. Now bring this in like this, like that. Can you see this? I've cropped it up here, and now boom, done. That's how you do. So you drag the image, drop it in, make it little bigger. Watch the top corner here and make it little bigger. Use the second image. Try to place it. Use one small element that where you can take a perspective from, size perspective from, and do that. So you'll have a pop-out image like this. So the final one is here. If you don't want this circle here, you can take it off. The next one is this circle. If I want it to be something else, some other color. So what I've done here is, as I told you, as you imagine, Canva helps you. Circle. I want this one. So that's the one that I've chosen. And I've chosen this particular color also. So here again, just make sure you placed it well. This is a little big. Okay. So once you see that your placement is almost there, so all that you do is, there are of course keyboard shortcuts for this. I will share that to you tomorrow during the next session. So click on this position and move it backward. Yeah, I can probably do a better job. I'm doing it myself because it takes a little more time. Yeah, so it's pretty much something like that. So then you achieve that. Okay. So then now how do I achieve this look? For that, this is the first choice I've made. I've created Control C and I've got a circle down and I've got this particular element taken. So I've placed that element. So here again, how do you place it? If you ask me, just bring it here. All that I've done is just moved it to the corner. That's all. Moved it to the corner. This one is a little bigger, so I have made this one closer to this so that this outer border is not too much. So here, this one, this is a gradient. You can put to whichever color you wish to. I just chosen to keep it this way. Okay, very straightforward. You just have one image, drag and drop it. Now there is a cut in the head, so double click, bring it down. Boom, done. That's as quick as that. Okay. So then the next one is, how do I get that dual color background? Okay. So make sure you choose 2 frames. And how do you get this? So again, the keyboard shortcut here is I've used R for rectangle, easier for you to remember. So I have taken this, brought it. This is the centered. So I'm going to duplicate this. Go here, change the color. So I have this one. Okay. Page number 10. Go to download. One is fine. PNG is good. Go here, click on 10 and download it. So once you have that particular image, drag it. As I told you, you can go to upload and you can upload that media. That image will be there. So just click on that. This one, this will be converted to an image that you get here. Okay. Using this, now we have 3 elements here. 2 frames, your profile image, and you have this color here, color image. So all that you do is drag, drop it. Your color is dropped. Drag and drop this one inside this. All right. So all that right now you do is bring this to one corner. So it's easier. Boom, done. Now the next thing is double click. Make sure you bring it down like that. And also for you to remember the profile picture, when you're making it, make sure it is nicely zoomed in. Only then people will be able to get a perspective of you, because I've seen a lot of people having profile images where the face is only this big, where the face will only be this big. This would not help. It has to be at least 65 to 70% of the image. Only then people will be able to see you. Okay. So because in LinkedIn, okay, let's say you're searching for see here, unless your face is nice and center here, people are not going to be able to figure it out. As I told you, eyes give up, people will also give up. So that's the reason why I tell, make sure you have a decent size here. Okay. I hope you found this spot interesting. Did you guys learn something new today? Just let me know in the chats, or give me a thumbs up. Or okay, I see Saima giving a clap. Was it for this one? I hope so. Awesome. So let's move on to the next one. Okay. So the next one is business cards. This is another topic that I find it very interesting to teach. Give me a second. Yeah. Right. So again, as if you remember the very second slide, do you remember, time, photo, name, person, designation, all of that. Let's take a list of what is normally there in a business card. Name, address, web page, email, one element, or meaning when I say element, an image and logo. This is pretty much what is there in a business card. As we've gone digital now, business cards have also become digital. So the advantage there is we have the flexibility of doing things, of making regular changes if we wish to, because back in those days, if we print a certain business card, if there is even a small change, we'll have to reprint the whole thing. So you're very stuck there. But nowadays you're not. So with that flexibility, we should rethink this entire idea of business card. I have two examples for you, which I think you'll find it extremely interesting. So let's move on. This is supposed to be a really, pretty well designed, very nice logo here. The person here has got a lot of white space, flows very well, great. But there is nothing standing out here. There is no action that I would want here. This is just information. Business card should be more than this. Here again, Federer John, he's a graphic designer, excellent logo. He's got nice gradient going on, and he's also got a nice image here. Again, phone, same. So what else? Nothing. It's good, but there is nothing more to this. Today we're going to rethink, we're going to reimagine, we're going to redirect. That's what we're going to do right now. So let me wear my brand strategist cap here. Now, first, how we'll have to do this, everything starts with you. You have to figure out what is it that let's say you're a solopreneur starting your new graphic design business, let's say you are a digital marketing solopreneur. Who are you? You have to figure that out. Be clear about that. Then, next one is, who is it that I am targeting? What is it that they might want from me? The third thing is, what do I add in my business card that can be actionable? There has to be some action that people take. Just having your website, phone number, and your website, phone number is not going to make them take the action that you really want them to take. There are ways to do it. That's where I'm coming to. So how can I make it more actionable? Second, where is it that I want to redirect them? These are the four things that I want you to think. So let's say, and this is the first case that I have. This is, let's say, Ishan. He is the co-founder of Code Pro. Let's say he's only 16 years old. All that he will have is an email address. He will have is a website. He might not even have an address. He might not be open to having his image. He might not have a great image. He might not have access to, getting even his card printed or whatever it might be. Let's find out a little more about Ishan. So his business card is going to look very, very vague and something missing all the time. So let's say who he is. He builds an app. He does hours of coding. He's designed his own product, whatever the product can be, and he also has a pitch for that product. So where would he go? He would go to conferences, or he might meet somebody over a Zoom call, because conferences don't happen. So you meet somebody over a Zoom call, then of course you cannot hand over a physical business card to them. So with that, everything ends. So how can he make that go beyond? There are ways to do that. That's where making use of QR code in business cards works wonders, because that makes people take action, and I'll show you how. So this is the card that I thought of. Okay, I would not call it designed, thought of for Ishan. This is an image you can nicely black out so that he's still comfortable with the image. So his name, whatever. Just to make it more interesting, these people who are tech savvy, they can build their own landing pages. Today, building landing pages is very easy. There are tons of tools. Anybody without knowing code also, like even you and me, can do it. So let's say he has a page. He's broken it down into himself, about him if you would like to know, about the product that he's built, and about the pitch that he has. Let's say he has posted a video. It is very personable. A good brand has a good personal brand should humanize, should be very humanized. Only then it really works. So let's say he has a video that is there. So that website, this website will have all of this, no doubt. But that alone people will not do. So here he's created 3 actions of interest that people can take. This he can keep on changing also. So here again, there is one image or a theme here. He's a coder. So we've clearly mentioned that. Now, between this, which is a very dead uh, business card, and this action is definitely possible. Now, forget about the design. The main thing about design is how you think through to arrive at a design. Creating a design is just a certain steps that you do, dragging, searching for something, putting it. But the thinking that goes behind the design is what is very important. That makes the process of design very, very easy. That's what I'm trying to come here to. Now, how do you do this? So let's say here again in the Zoom call that we are in, if I tell you, hey, if you'd like to know more about me, I can wait for a couple of seconds. You can take your phones, you can scan this and you can see my product. Action happens immediately. People like this. They would take that action right then and there. That's something. So now, how do you create this? Very, very, very easy. So if you just saw a couple of minutes back when I did the tour, you can see something called QR code here. Click on the QR code, put in your website or wherever, whichever your landing page or whatever. Just generate QR code. That's it. All that you need to now focus on what size, where am I going to place it? That's the only decision that you're going to take. That's that easy. Now, the second case I'd like to talk about. So here in this case, Ishan is tech savvy, so it works. I'm going to talk about this gentleman here called Arjun Anand. He's a restaurant owner and a consultant. So what is a consultant? He helps others open restaurants. He helps them with, selecting cutlery for them and so on and so forth. So this is normally how his business card would look. The maximum is he might have a image of something, of one of his dishes or something. That's pretty much people think of. Now let's say Arjun Anand is not tech savvy. He's going to use Canva to do it. Even for him, designs are possible. He's running an Indian restaurant. So Indian restaurants are all about, curry powder and so on and so forth. So I just searched and this picture immediately came up. I didn't do anything. It didn't take too much of time. But however, as he's a restaurant owner, he can put his menu here. As he's a consultant, he can have his portfolio here and he can put awards here. See, when people start seeing the name awards, it automatically improves credibility. It creates an interest to go see what this person is. People are willing to spend time for you, but you'll have to innate that action with them. That's what's more important. So these are just 2 examples that I have for you to rethink your business cards and use QR codes in business cards to design them. If you still don't want the business cards, no problem. You can just take it off, but you can still have business cards that you can design. Now again, going back to this, if you want to design a business card, otherwise you can just go type on business cards. You have a huge repository of business cards, horizontal, vertical, you have all of them here. But I wanted to go a step further and wanted you to rethink business cards completely. And for style, you can definitely pick all of these for sure. But you need to think, who am I? Who's my audience? How am I going to entice them? How do I make them take an action? Do that and then select all of these. There are tons of elements that you can choose from. Okay. I hope you guys found that useful. Let me know if you found it useful in the chat, a wave or a clap or a not so good. Let me know. Awesome. Thank you guys. So that's business cards. So we have two more until we wrap up today. So next one is LinkedIn and Facebook banners. These are again super important ones. So I'm going to take you on a tour here with this. Right. See, the first thing that I would want you to do is take a screenshot of your current LinkedIn banner. Even though you do not have anything here, that's fine. Just take a screenshot of this and make sure you completely, put it full size. So again, how do you make this? Don't worry, just go here, come to search, LinkedIn banner. So here again, you have LinkedIn banner here. This is the one that we want. Once you click, it will open up. So make sure you go full screen here, and then this part, make sure you put it. So how do you do that? Just click on C here. So whatever size that this comes up, just put it here. So it'll give you a context, because if you're going to center align something here, this is already gone. This is in your desktop, this is gone. So you'll have to center it from here to here and not from both ends. Okay. So again, the thought process. What is it that we'll have? Logo. What is the goal of this banner? What are the colors? What is the kind of information that we're looking to capture here? Based on those information, is there any elements that we would want to add to this banner? These are the 4 items. So I'm going to show you 3 examples that went around for coming up with this particular design. So the next one is a live example that I worked for. It's for a podcast called Makers Bar. So they invite startup founders, not necessarily who've gotten funding, who've got a very, they focus on startups who have innovative products, who got funding or close to getting funding. So they just want to talk to them so that, once there's a success story, then it's very different. But they want to showcase what is the story until where they are right now. So that's where they focus on. So it's done by 2 women, Deepthi and Akshata. So they are women co-founders. So they're doing a podcast. So it's pretty much, so that's why if you remember, I told you the logo always is best placed on the left top corner, so people are able to see it. So here again, if you see, this is properly placed. So that's why using the circle here in your design gives you a clear idea of how it will be placed. If not, it will be a little confusing. So again, the centering happens from this part to the other one. So I just brought in some elements here. So this again with Canva, I just got these 2. I just put these elements and it's a podcast. So this is the one-liner for that. So there are tons of white space flowing and easy on the eye. And one more thing, try this. This is a completely white background. Try not to use white backgrounds, complete white backgrounds, because it doesn't, for some reason, it might be a good design, but it might not have life. There'll be something missing. So this is of course they have the brand colors of Makers Bar. So I use that. Okay. So here again, this is not a white background. This is a little bluish gray shade of lightest white. Okay. So here again, this is for a very senior person with 25 years of experience. He has authored books. He again runs a podcast. So this is a design that was done for him. It's got pretty much all the information. This is one element that I wanted to add here just to, if not without this, it is looking very, very plain. So just brought it and kept it very subtle here. And then I'm not a fan of this, but he particularly wanted his email and all of that here. So we kind of had this glossy kind of a badge here that we put it. So this is again more for personal branding. This is somebody who is based out of Toronto only. So she's into cybersecurity space. She also runs a podcast. So So again, as it is, as I told you, she's working with cybersecurity, especially for buildings. So again, the one element that I thought of was a building. So then that's why we brought in that. So anything that you put in here has to connect to the logic. That is very important in design. It has to connect. You have to ask a lot of questions and have answers to that, and then start the design so that your design process is much quicker and it makes a ton of sense. So here again, if you see this block that I brought, I just wanted to bring emphasis here. That's the reason why I brought. So again, to bring emphasis, what can you do? That's my thought. Okay, then I was looking for some, then I came up with this block and I put it up here. This is again their brand colors. I didn't do anything much here. So something like this, which is very simple. Welcome to Toronto. So again, this is completely white, which is not nice. So I'm just going to turn it to something. So this makes it a tad better than that. So now this is LinkedIn banners. See, so now we've spent enough time doing this. Now we want to keep our brand consistent across social media. Now let's say I want to do this for Facebook also. Now, if I have to go create this from scratch, it's going to take a lot of time. More than a lot of time, you are not going to have patience. As I already told you, we are not designers by nature, so we will not have patience. So that's when the resize tool in Canva is awesome. So let's click on the resize tool, resize button here that you see on the top corner. Click on resize. So here again, you can search. What is it that you want to resize to? You don't have to remember anything. So you want to do Facebook cover. This is what you want. So all that you do is click on that and just copy and resize. Once you copy and resize, it opens out to this one. This is what it opens out to. Yes, because the sizes are different. This is how it's going to open up to. But this pretty much has done, I would say 65, 70% of the work is already done. So all that you do is just drag and, just drag it to certain corners to make it as similar as possible to how it looked like in LinkedIn. So I've already done this to save time. So this is pretty much how it is going to look in Facebook. So this is how, you design in one and repurpose it and resize it and repurpose it in other social media sizes also. Okay. I hope you found this one useful, folks. Let me know if you have any questions, and also let me know if any more questions. You can make a note. We can also answer it in the next class. So the last item for today would be Instagram. We're not going to go too much into detail with Instagram because this is a pretty important topic. I will just start with very basics, and we almost come to the end of we overshot by 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So I want you to be aware of two sizes that are very important in designing Instagram banners, Instagram content. So one is the square size. That is the size that you see in the feed, in the Instagram feed. When you see this, the square size is what you see. But when you open a certain image, there is also you can also design it for the vertical size, which is this is 1080 by 1080, and this one is 1080 by 1350. 1080 is the width, 1350 is the height. So a lot of people stop with 1080 by 1080, but you should make use of the 1350, the extra space, the 280 pixels vertically extra to design your content. Why should I do that? Now I want you to look at the first and the third one. The first one is got only be your own champion and the trophy. The third one is got your logo on the top, the arrow mark for action on the top, and your personal branding that you see. Now, if you now look at the second one, if you want to add all of that to a 1080 by 1080, it's going to be super cramped. Your white space is completely gone for a 6. it's packed with too much. Where do I focus on? Even if you're trying to do an emphasis on something, it's all going to be too much. So that's why you should consider making use of the extra 280, 140 on the top, 140 on the bottom space to move these items here. However, so the most important thing is they would only see this, they would not see the logo, because at this point you want them to focus only on this. If in your post feed, it will only be this. It will not have the logo. But once they are interested, they will see everything, all of these. So now, just to give you an example, so I also encourage you to follow me on Instagram. My handle is the only Balaji. I post a lot of design fundamentals and design tips here. It will be very useful for you. So here, if you see, let's take this one for example. What is all the fuss about good design? Here, if you see in my feed, it is only the square. But once you open up, my branding is here, and there are more slides for you to swipe. There is also an action here. So now there is a ton of white space. I've used only my brand colors. I've not gone, so a lot of white space. So here again, if you see, the 60, 30, and 10 rule is what I followed here also. This will give you a perspective. So, so tomorrow we will go into detail and talk about how to make carousels. And also, especially, this is one one most requested thing is, how do I make my carousels seamless? Can you see? Once you get, how can I make it like this in Canva itself? How do I make that? So all of that we're going to discuss in tomorrow's class. So with this, I think so we pretty much covered all of this, all the business essentials today. So tomorrow we're going to talk specific to Instagram carousels, and we're going to talk about we're going to have 30 plus tips and tricks and time savers that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about photos and elements tomorrow. We're going to talk about text effects also in our next session. Okay.
Tomorrow means upcoming Saturday.
Yeah, sorry, tomorrow. Sorry, next session.
Yeah.
Sorry,
next session on upcoming Saturday.
Next session. That's what I meant tomorrow. That's tomorrow to me.
Yes,
Okay.
understand.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, next session we have a class on 7 p.m. Indian time, Saturday, upcoming Saturday. Okay. So guys, if you have any question, you can ask now. Anish, Neha, Rupesh, Saima. If you have any question, you can ask, or we will wrap up today's session. Anyway, you can ask your question on the next class also. If you have any question, you can raise your hand, and if you don't have any question, give a thumbs up.
Awesome. So So I think so one thing that I would encourage you all is to spend some time on Canva over the week. Try doing stuff so that you'll only then have good questions to ask from whatever we covered today. And I also Subhadeep, if you can share the affiliate link with them. So with this link, you would also get 30 days of Canva Pro for free. If you've already registered, you might not, but you can use this link and create a new account. You can have 30 days of Canva for free, Pro for free. You can check that out. And the more you use, you'll have more questions, and I'll be happy to take more questions, because the more that you ask, the more that I'll be able to add. So that'll be, having a two-way conversation is always better. So I hope you guys found this useful, and look forward to meeting you next Saturday, 7 p.m. India time.
Thank you, Balaji, for taking today's session. It was obviously it was a wonderful session, and we all learned a lot from you. And we hope to continue this next Saturday. Obviously, we'll continue this on the next Saturday. And guys, if you have any question, you can ask, or you can ask on next Saturday also in the next class.
Yeah, or if somebody can take a minute or a couple of seconds to just tell me how how the session was. It'll be good, and also be nice to have your feedback post the session, because feedback is really important for us to help.
I have already provided the feedback link. Please provide your feedback.
Yeah, sure.
And so that we can
Saima
improve
or
on
Neha, anybody would like to just give your closing remarks of what you think, what you thought the session, or how you thought the session was?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, please.
It was an interesting session. There were some myths which I had in my mind, like the repetition myth. That was something very new for me. That was interesting, and I'm someone who's not very creative, but I loved the session, and I learned a lot. I'm sure I'm going to explore Canva. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha, for the feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. So we'll wrap today's session. And again, thank you, Balaji, for taking this wonderful session. We all learned a lot. And thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, so I am ending today's session.
Yeah, Subhadeep, just hold on. You can.
Yeah.
Can we have a conversation, or you want to?
Yeah, we can. Okay, let's wait for another 1-2 minutes and then we can. Rupesh, do you want to ask something? Rupesh, am I audible?
You are.
He's here. He's not responding.
Rupesh is part of Antwak, or he is part of the
No.
course?
He's part
I
of.
think he's on mute. I think that's why.
Uh, just a minute.
Sure.